Welcome to Here's How We Get There. It's the daily show filled with conversations about business and mental health in a down-to-earth style with real-world language. Now let's dive in with your co-hosts, Kenneth Shark-Kinney and Trey Tucker.
All right, Trey, in a report analyzing TV viewership in 2023, Nielsen found that Suits had beaten a record that had been previously held by The Office for several years. In short, though, a lot of the shows like Suits, The Office, Friends, shows like that, from yesteryear, as the kids would say, were streaming much higher than the more recent shows. Actually, one of the ones that was funny is saw where even Suits beat Yellowstone, which was crazy when you think of how big Yellowstone has been a phenomenon. But older shows are the context of it. Now, having worked a lot in TV measurement, never really trusted Nielsen numbers. However, streaming offers a lot more capabilities to measure than a lot of the traditional set-top box type stuff had been. But what are your thoughts on what that means with people watching these kind of older shows?
Two things come to mind. One of them is the fact that this writers and actors strike, I think we're probably still feeling the effects of that because there just hasn't been enough quality content coming through the pipeline. So I think people got used to going to the older stuff because for 6 to 12 months, that was really all that was available. So that's part of it. But there is something that I don't know exactly how to put a finger on it, but there's something about the whole nostalgia feel of going back to slightly slower paced television shows. And I think at least the shows that I remember from that era from 10 or 20 years ago, their plots and their characters seem to have more depth to them. Right now, a lot of the current stuff seems to be more shallow and more obviously agenda driven. Whereas the old scripts didn't mess with all that stuff. They got deeper into the development of the characters themselves and the storyline. So maybe there are other factors, but those two are the main ones for me.
All right, I'll tell you what the factors are, because I know these better than anybody else on the planet. Just kidding. I don't have any clue. But one, I think one of the things that you see in a lot of the older shows is there wasn't nearly the back agenda, there wasn't the back storytelling that you hear on everything. You can't even watch a show and now not know what somebody's story was in the back, and it turns off a lot of people. It becomes, yes, this person is an actor or actress on a show, but now we've got to hear whether or not they're trauma dumping and they're in a new, they're on Good Morning America also harping a book telling about their story. Nobody cared about Andy Griffith and Opie and Barney. It was just great writing. We didn't need all that other stuff. The other thing is, I think nostalgia is huge. It is a huge play in marketing. Whether it's fast paced or slow paced, I don't know that I necessarily even agree with that, but most of the times with nostalgia, you tend to have more positive feelings about things in the past, to some context, at least when we're in the framing of TV shows. But that adds to it. Another is character development today is much worse than it was before. In the old shows, I made fun of Andy Griffith, where you had basically the father, the son, the aunt, and the deputy, and then a mechanic or something. You do that on a new show, and I can't even tell you. You could fill in the blanks and pretty much insert it. You can take 2 or 3 main characters today and insert the other stupid, quirky characters here. Where they're going to appear in all these other shows, and it happens over and over again. Probably the most important thing, because I look at this a lot, the writing. There's no comparison to the writing then to today. And it's because they focused on the story itself, not the stories around it. The other, and this is, I actually think is the most understated thing, is I always question anytime on Netflix when I see that Suits is number 1 or something like that. The algorithm is also what helps propel a lot of this forward. There's no reason for any of the movies that you see in the top 10 on Netflix or Amazon Prime or any of these other channels, why someone should question, why is Joe Dirt number 1 this week in movies? Some of these shows like Suits, what all of a sudden we started liking Meghan Markle? Come on, she's not the most beloved character in the world right now, at least this side of the pond. But I do think that plays a lot into it, and a lot of times when you tell people it's popular, sheep will follow. As long as they watch this show over and over again, I don't care.
That's right.
Thank you for joining Shark and Trey on the Here's How We Get There show. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show and visit here'showwegetthere.com. That's here'showwegetthere.com.